everybody. I'm doing a session for a client, so I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in exploring a session with me, please come visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. All right, so I'm going to read these goals out loud and get started. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with you today. And thank you very much for your open-mindedness to share with others. Okay, so you say, I'd like to receive healing and guidance. I can't really pinpoint what my needs are, but I feel guided to getting a session with you. I'm also happy to share this experience with your followers on YouTube. Okay, so we just get to keep it open. Healing and guidance. Oh. There's a lot of different vibrations I'm experiencing in my throat and my solar plexus, down my spine. All right, I'm gonna relax. Let's see what it's all about, shall we? Okay. Okay. Well, there's a lot of overlapping layers, and let's just say 5, okay? One of them is kind of cartoonish. It's like, Jack and the Beanstalk, the giant beanstalk, but let's say it's a giant flower. And it's not like a sunflower, it has white petals, but it's a giant, tall stalk of a flower, okay? And it's got a big, round, sun-like face, like a sunflower, but it's yellow petals. And there's also a scene where you're trying to climb a wall, and there are places for you to put your hands and your feet. And but it is a vertical climb. It's going to take work, and there's a long ways to go to get to the plateau, okay? There's other scenes in here, but these are the first 2 I'm ready to describe. So let's see what comes next, okay? Okay. Another random scene. There's basically a flying saucer, and it has lethal weapons. It has lethal weapons that shoot green laser beams and sort of like chunks, like 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 guns like that. But it's like little green bits, like a dotted line, like laser beams. And then it's shooting this out. This alien saucer is. And I see you, and there's newspaper, and you're crumpling up this newspaper and throwing it away, and you're crumpling up this page of newspaper, throwing it away. But it's interesting because we're looking at newspapers, pages of newspaper, but it's also like your ideas on paper, and your ideas on paper aren't, making the front page news. They're not good enough for you, because there's some kind of parallel between these pages in the newspaper that get crumpled up and tossed away, and what could be you creating your own writing or your own messages that maybe you're deciding aren't worth reading. So that's kind of what the next thing is here. It's almost like there's a creative side to who you are, and I'm seeing it in this massive flower and this vertical wall. This flying saucer with the bullets coming out and these like dotted line laser beams. I can't understand, because now you're becoming wallpaper. And you're becoming literally in part of the wall, like you're becoming basically the wallpaper on the wall itself. You are like the wallpaper, and it's visible to everybody, and yet nobody sees you. That's literally what this is like. It's like you see everybody and nobody sees you, and nobody really pays attention to the wallpaper because it just blends in with the walls. It's not as important as maybe reading the newspaper or talking over coffee and scrambled eggs for breakfast or whatever. It's just wallpaper, right? You're just wallpaper. Interesting. We've seen newspaper, now we've seen wallpaper. So what other kinds of paper are there? Maybe there's some clues here. All right, let's see what comes next. Again, another scene of a random event. And this is he's got really big, thick lips and kind of a hole amongst the lips, like they don't come closed all the way. He has brown eyes, and he's kind of a creature in a way. He's kind of a monstery looking thing. And when he steps, the ground vibrates. Every step he takes, the ground vibrates, so people can tell when he's coming and people can scatter. So he will always be alone. Gosh, that's sad. At first I thought like a King Kong scenario, people screaming, pointing, here comes King Kong, because of the thunderous steps that he takes. But really, if you look at it from his perspective, everybody can hear him coming, and therefore there is nobody, and it's only him, because everybody runs away from him. It is kind of that, you know, with the King Kong people pointing and screaming, but it's more of a sad story. It's about loneliness. And I hear the words like, you're a freak, basically. It's just, you're a freak, you're a big freak. And then steps that scare people away, and you're always alone. Man, that's harsh. Okay, what's the next thing? Is this self-worth? There's so much more to it than that. I'm just pulling your consciousness in, and I'm saying, what do you think about these scenes so far? What do you like about him? What do you not like about him? If there was something you could change, what would you change? You show me that your mouth is sewn shut. Okay, man, it's hard to look at, to be honest, because when I look at it, I experience that there's been unfairness. It feels unfair to be you. It's an unfair experience, and your mouth is sewn shut. Like, you'll never really be able to express yourself. And now, if you could express yourself, would anybody listen? Is that why you toss away the pieces of newspaper as though your words don't matter? That's why you're part of the wallpaper that nobody sees. That's why you're the big freak, and you have nobody there to comfort you, because people run away as soon as they hear you coming. The loneliness. This is pretty intense. It's a pretty hardcore message so far. So, oh man. Okay. You prefer to be humble. Because there's an event that happens in our communication where there is the opportunity for you to lose it. As in, where you lose your SHIT, but you don't do that. You choose to be humble, okay? You choose to not go there. You don't react in a belligerent way. You contain that, and you choose to be humble. And this is an interesting energetic dynamic, because being humble is an equality. It's not lowering the bar of your self-worth. It's just choosing to be humble and, in a way, accepting of the world as it is. And have you accepted your mouth sewn shut? Have you accepted loneliness? Have you accepted the wallpaper? Have you accepted the newspaper? Have you accepted these things? You choose not to be belligerent about it. You choose to be humble about it. So I'm trying to interpret this complex response. I find interesting because you're not retaliating. You're not reacting. You're not letting it out of the cat out of the bag. You're not angry. But I feel that is not true. I feel you are angry. You maybe wouldn't let the anger out because maybe the anger would create a certain type of attention. Now people see the news that you have to share. Now people see the wallpaper. Now people notice a spaceship with the blowing things up. Okay, now people notice this monster, this freak that you are. I mean, that's literally what this is expressing. But I'm gonna unsew, it's kind of creepy, but I literally have to unsew your lips from being shut. So it's not like I can just cut it and then we'll pull the strings out. No, I unsew them. And now you have access to your mouth and your voice if you want. So let's see what comes next. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is good because we're working through this. You say something like, oh, so is this what you want? Is this what you want to see? And you do it with bitterness. And it's an acidic voice that is speaking here. And I'm being presented with, let's just say your heart's been tortured and you chose to be humble and keep your mouth shut, okay? But now that we've unsewn your mouth, your heart has still been tortured. So the next step then is to speak about it, but what you express is coming out like acid spitting in people's faces. So you're coming out like way too strong. Okay, so let's work with this though. Let's work with this. Okay, let me see. Okay. I hear echoes from a hallway that says, please help me, like a little, like if a baby could ask for help, if it could ask for help and it would say, please help me. I hear this baby saying, please help me, in its heart, and it's from down a hallway. And I hear the echoes of a gentle voice that says, please help me, please help me. I see a child rocking itself on a bed. I see a child holding the wall as though it is the only one to hold them back. I see it's a cold world outside, okay? Okay. Now that we got through that, how are you doing? Man, that was hardcore. I mean, that really moved energies at the throat and around the face and around the head, okay? And I feel exhausted, like I could fall flat on my face, exhausted. Okay, now there's other things that we need to look at because the humbleness is interesting. I feel like it's overshadowing a lack of self-expression that has been muted, and now you're working through coming to peace with that. But it seems like the door must open for you to speak and be heard, actually be heard. And that is scary because it's almost like you've become used to not being seen. Now to be heard is to be seen. Do you see what I'm saying? But also we have the unresolved of all this pain beneath the surface of choosing to be humble. And it's acidic, it's full of these sad images and these experiences. So this has to be resolved. No wonder it's hard to identify what you need. You need some healing and some guidance. No wonder it's hard to articulate what it is you need. This is about voice. This is about expression and a lot of things here. We're going to go into some dark stuff, okay? This is beneath you being humble, okay? Now that we unsewed your lips shut. All right. Okay. Okay, there's a girl who's very skinny, and she's on a wooden chair, and she's just kind of delirious and just laughing like the Joker would laugh, you know, like a hysteria, but a coherence and a hysteria at the same time. And it's like something is funny that only the Joker knows in some twisted, deranged way. And so I see this you laughing hysterically, but mindlessly, but somehow coherently, as though you know something and you just can't help but laugh like the Joker would laugh. And there's slaves in a big room, and they're all kind of like students, I guess. It's a big cafeteria in here. And it looks like a pretty cool underground cave that has some vague lighting. So it's like a reddish brown rock that glows everywhere. And there's the same person. And this person is like 1,000 of them carrying a tray ready to get their food from the cafeteria lady, you know, and then go sit down. There's nowhere to sit down. There's only places to stand and eat from a tray. It's very strange. All the while I hear and experience you hysterically laughing, okay? And you're kind of outside the door. When I go in the door, which is pretty big, open space, I mean, there's lots of yous here. These yous are all what is like 8-year-old boys, okay? All right, let's see. You don't know whether you want to stand up with a machine gun and machine gun them all down and then dump this place full of gasoline and blow it up. Or if you want to stop the hysteria, make it all go away, and then just put yourself back together again and keep your mouth shut. Man, this is hardcore. Let's see what you decide. Okay, the unexpected happens. And there's a messenger. It's a bird, and it's telling you something in your ear, and it makes you cry. And you have pulled yourself together. You're crying, and you stand up, and you say, you kind of like hit yourself on the face many times, and you say, "What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?" And you go in and you say, "Why would I ever hurt anybody? Doesn't matter if I've been hurt. I won't ever hurt anybody." And then I hear a male voice laugh and point at you and say, "Oh, but you'll hurt yourself, won't you?" Like this, okay? And he loves watching you hurt yourself. He's like all about this. Oh boy, there's some complex stuff going on here. You can't save these kids. I'm not sure why there's this emanation that you must save the children. They're all the same 8-year-old boy, and you can't save the kids. You can't save these kids. And you're going to have to just let them follow the leader, follow this lineup, get what they need to get, and then deal with it the way they need to deal with it, as though this is their life. These thousands, it's their life, so their life isn't perfect. They'll have to stand in a lineup. They'll have to wait for their food. They'll receive their food as just plopped on a tray, and then they'll have to stand in order to eat it. They've lost certain comforts. They've lost certain like rules of what creates a sound environment for children in a school. You know, it's just something is not good enough for you here in the scene to the level that you feel like you need to save these kids. And you can't save these kids. And I see this man on a dark cloud, and he's very like devil looking, like he has the horns, and he's made out of black smoke. And he points and he just laughs, because when you're suffering, he just gets so much joy out of it. Watching you say, "I can't save these kids," again, is joy for him, because it's lack within yourself. And you feel so much lack within yourself, and you feel so alone. And you try to keep it together. Oh man. What else is here? I mean, are there some serious like entity attachments? I mean, that's quite possible. I mean, this male energy is definitely needs to be evaluated more. It seems like there's others that are attached to potentially your third eye and crown chakra, so we need to take a look at that too. But your guides are saying it's kind of like pushing aside the concept of entity attachment, because really we need to focus on getting you in good shape, emotional shape, mental shape, because when you're strong, then they're weak, you know, so there's no attachment anymore. So that's kind of what they're kind of emanating to me. There's particularly a female guide who is many. I mean, she shows me she looks the same, but she's like hundreds of herself, and she glows with like pink hues, teal colors, and peach colors. And she's kind of an ocean water person. She's mermaid-like. And she loves you. She's like, and I love you. I'm like, just like, I'm looking at her, I'm describing what she looks like, and then she says, and I love you. And so she wants me to tell you that. Like, she's like, and I love you. She's like, and I love you. She keeps saying it. She wants me to keep saying it over and over again. And I love you, and I love you, and I love you, and I love you. Is that why there's so many of her? So you can hear her say it like hundreds of times. She's really like adorable, and she's really kind. She's so sweet. Like, oh, she's so sweet. She's full of fresh air, ocean water air. Like, she's full of fresh air. Oh, it's so fresh and breathable, and I can taste a fresh fruit, like a super juicy peach. Like, you bite into it and it's gushing all over your face, like it's the juiciest of all the peaches ever known. It's the juiciest one, you know. It's like freshness. So she represents freshness and fresh air and juicy, delicious fruit. I mean, she's really emanating juicy, delicious fruit. Okay. And she wants you to eat more fresh fruits. Like, she even shows me your face. Oh, your mouth is open. And she like shoves a juicy fruit in your mouth, and it's like gushing. So it's like full of fresh juices of Mother Nature's nectar, you know. She's kind of like this, all right? Okay. Okay, this is okay. I'm starting to understand. All right. So as she gives you something that's quite fresh and quite clear, oxygenated, rehabilitating, you receive that goodness, but somehow it disorients its structure and becomes kind of like a good thing that becomes slightly insane. Okay, like it becomes a structure where you're now being tortured. And somebody is like laughing hilariously and putting things in your mouth. Oh, it's a juicy fruit, as you're being like ripped apart. So there's this, she's emanating something that is wholesome, grounded, good for you, okay? And she loves you, all right? And you receive it. You actually do receive it. But somehow when you receive it, your psychology translates it into somebody laughing hysterically and force feeding you good things, all the while your soul's being ripped apart by some massive demon that's raping you. I mean, literally, it's like that. It just doesn't stream in as just one wholesome experience. It gets disoriented by something disturbing. And what this tells me is that there's got to be a lot of complex pockets on your life path that have, I mean, created a structure that is full of compartmental identities. So how do we allow goodness to just be goodness without it becoming defiled? And how do we allow you to just have the free will to be yourself? And who are you after what I'm being shown here you resonate with as part of your life path? Okay, so I have to see this scene all the way through. Basically, your soul's being ripped apart and you're being raped by a giant demonic being, okay? As she's turned into some kind of laughing puppet that's forcing peach juice down your throat. That's what's happening now, okay? What's interesting is how you cope with the two extremes that go collide is you choose to be humble. That is, you choose to be humble and you choose to say, I don't need to speak. I don't need to be seen. I don't need any of these things. I have myself. And so that creates neutrality. But if we were to rock the boat and not allow you to be humble, what do we get? What are you working with? So this is a complex, this is very complex, okay? I mean, you are a complex person. Like straight up, you are a complex person. That is a compliment. That is a compliment. Okay. So let's see here. All right. Okay. I'm going to go into some grimier places. I want to go deeper. I really want to go deeper. And we're just going to keep working our way deeper, okay? I'm in a place where every step is spiky and it hurts your feet, okay? And there's all these strange like puppets that are bouncing up and down laughing. And there's thousands of them everywhere in here, okay? And they just like, I don't know who's got the puppet strings, but they're all laughing hysterically, okay? And then somehow their laughter becomes your throat and you start to experience this laughter, and that creates like a ripple of like a Jokerism kind of insanity. You have like you're together, but there's this like laughter that doesn't stop. And it's insane. It's kind of an insane thing, but it's coherent. It's smart somehow, but lost it at the same time. And you found a way to cope with hearing it and not let it get to you. So I'm like really impressed by that. It sometimes does get to you. I mean, I am just, wow. I don't know what to say. The unexpected is happening here. It's almost like a part of you said, bring it. When you came into this life, like you said, like you pointed at all of these the terrible of the terribles, and you said, bring it. Just see if you can defile me, you know? And what your goal was to be pushed to such extreme limits that you would potentially lose yourself. But you haven't lost yourself. In fact, it's developed certain calibers of strength that you are now stronger than those that were trying to take you down, that you asked them to try, okay? Because as you walk through here, you don't feel the pain on your feet, not because you numbed it, because you chose to feel it. And you choose to not hear the sound of the laughter because you're in control, and you chose not to hear it because you chose to not hear it because you don't feel like it. And it's like you trained yourself to be strong. You trained yourself to be strong. But in being strong, you are lonely. It's like, I feel that after Echo, because you become different, right? When you come in to be challenged, you become different than other people, okay? Like maybe you don't fit in with the big crowd because you're dynamically your own person. And that doesn't fit into any category. It doesn't fit into any crowd. You walk in your own style, okay? And you could lose yourself if you want to, but why would you? When you have gained and conquered and become so much, don't see yourself as a feather in the wind, because you don't see yourself as a feather in the wind. It's almost like at times you just want to be a feather in the wind and just go. Just be blown away, as in taken away, as in like lose yourself in a way, because it's like you've been going through some kind of hardcore transformation process. And when does that ever end, you know? But I feel like it is ending. I just unsewed your lips for a reason. I mean, all this is happening for a reason. Your guides are wanting to see yourself in this way, okay? They're wanting to see yourself. Oh, you're asking me a question now. You ask me about the kids. You ask me, it's like, in a way, you don't give attention to that demonic guy that points and laughs. It's almost like you'd asked him to challenge you, and when you're broken, that's when he tries to get you while you're down. But all it does is encourage you not to give up, and that's what makes you strong. But these kids, the boys in the cafeteria, this is a sensitivity for you. Let me see what we can find out about this, okay? Because you're saying, okay, so it's like I can be strong, but I can't help them. Like, you can't help them, and there's a conflict here. There's a major conflict. Because I'm telling you, well, who was there to help you? Who was there to help you? Now there's nobody there to help them, and that's not fair. But who was there to help you? And that wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. But that's what you wanted. You wanted to be in an extreme state to become strong. So where's the problem again? But this is an emotional conflict. This is a soul level conflict. This is a serious conflict. I'm trying to understand it more. Let me see. I'm going to blend all these kids together because it's just one person. It literally is one kid, and maybe he's older than 8. Maybe he's like 12. Because once I blend them together, it's not a teen and it's not a child, okay? So let's call it a tween, okay? And you can't reach this kid. But you really do value this kid's opinion of you. Because if this kid can't see you for who you are, it's like that shatters the whole point of everything for you. I don't know what to say about that. I see this kid comes to you and he can't actually hug you or touch you in any way. He can't. But what he does is he surrounds you in a rainbow. And he says that no matter what we see as humans, I'll always see you for who you are in spirit. That's what he says to you. Oh man, I can feel how hard this is for you. That's what he says. He says that again and again and again because he wants to make sure you heard him correctly. He's saying no matter what we see in each other as humans, I'll always see you for who you truly are in the spirit realm. And I need you to know that. I need you to believe in that. I need you to welcome that truth. And it's like, don't let me derail you from your path. Your path is important. My path is important. It's like, let us follow our paths and know what is true. Know what is true. So he says, like, he is trying to teach you something important for yourself. It's interesting because it seems like you could go through a lot of hard experiences, but this one is like one that is really, it's like of them all, what this represents is like Superman's kryptonite. You know what I mean? This is like your kryptonite. And you can't let this be your kryptonite. And that's what he's saying as well. Don't let this be your kryptonite. Because you're like a Superman, a superwoman. You are. And don't let this be your kryptonite. That's what I meant to share with you. Whew. I have a feeling you're going to receive this and it's really going to help you soar because it's full of reflection, self-awareness, and you seem like a complex, strong person who can work with this type of message and actually become stronger from it and value it. And I find your humble nature such an interesting ingredient to who you are and how you maintain balance. And I feel like the next step for you has to do with using your voice, has to do with your messages are important and working on not being the wallpaper, but actually being heard and then being seen. It seems like you have a vulnerability with you don't want to be lonely or alone, but you don't necessarily want to be seen either. And so that needs to get worked on. And to practice using your voice, to practice writing or whatever it is, this communication that you want to express, to practice that is going to naturally help start to break down this other insecurity, being seen, okay? That's literally what's coming to me. So, but I'll let you kind of decide for yourself what it all means to you. But thank you very much for this very unique experience and the courage to explore this with me. And thank you very much to share with others here. Thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.